Hey there, welcome back to The Wine Fool. I'm Scott. Each year, Wine Enthusiast magazine releases its top 100 best buys of the year. 100 wines rated at 90 plus, but less than $20 each. Today, we're looking at 3 of the top wines on that list. Wine Enthusiast was founded in 1979, but the magazine wasn't launched until 1988. Since then, it's grown in popularity, and even if you've never opened up the magazine itself, you've more than likely seen a Wine Enthusiast rating in your local wine shop. Today, we've got 3 wines from the top 11 best buys of 2023. I know it doesn't roll off the tongue quite as nicely as the top 10, but I wanted to stick to reds, and some of them were a bit tricky to find. That being said, we've got a Syrah and a Cabernet Sauvignon from California and a Barbera from Italy. All of these happen to be actually less than or equal to $15 per bottle. I've had these in the glass for a while, getting some air, breaking up those tannins a little bit. It shouldn't be too warm. Let's give them a shot. Barbera. I'm familiar with Barbera as I've had a few along my wine drinking journey. Definitely a reliable red from Italy. This is and I may butcher this, Michele Chiarlo 2020 Le Orme Barbera di Asti, essentially meaning it's Barbera from the Asti region. Per the write-up in Wine Enthusiast, 94 points. This is a classic Barbera, vibrant and bright aromas of wild berries, fresh herbs, and purple flowers all showcase the beauty of this wine. The palate shows high-toned red cherries and raspberries, framed by elegant and fine tannins, with that perfect pop of acidity on the finish. Some additional notes, this is a single varietal wine consisting of 100% Barbera grapes. It's 14% alcohol by volume, and this was a $15 purchase. Right off the bat, fairly, bright nose, riper fruit. So we said wild berries, herbs, and purple. What does a purple flowers smell like? I'm getting some of that herbaceousness. I'll give it that. Cherries. Wild berries. All right. Great color, some garnet. Let's give it a try. Dry. Decent tannins. But to the point, okay, we're not going to call them elegant and fine, but nice. Not like, throat punch tannins. Enough to let you know that it's there and that it's dry, but not enough to really make you cringe. Very approachable wine. For me, this lands in a Wine Fool level 1. I don't think it's that distinct of a wine to sort of, I think this is very approachable. I think someone who's sort of, just getting into wine would be perfectly happy with this red. Understanding that red in itself can be a little bit of a hurdle. This would be a good first red. A little dry, not, sugar levels not very high in this at all. But very pleasant, really enjoyable. Given the price point, this is a very drinkable wine. If you're used to American wines as getting out of your comfort zone, a Barbera from Italy. Cabernet Sauvignon. So it's actually been a while since I've had a cab, or at least it feels that way. I've been trying everything else, so it's nice to return to something a little bit more familiar. California cab. This is Noble Vines 2020 337 Cabernet Sauvignon from Lodi, California. Per the write-up, 92 points. This wine is currently showing oak-forward notes of fresh cedar, vanilla, and toasted wood. This is followed by earthy tones of capsicum, black currant, bramble, fresh black cherry, and boysenberry. Elevated acidity keeps the wine alive from start to finish. Chalky tannins coat the palate. The finish lingers with a little peppery kick. Full transparency, I had to look up capsicum. Fancy way of saying bell pepper, or peppers in general. Sort of the, I think of like the red bell peppers that we've got in the stores here. Gotcha. Okay. Lots of descriptors here. It all kind of sounds like a walk in the woods in fall, which I think is pretty appropriate right now. This bottle was about $12. Let's give it a try. Much more purpley than our last wine. It's got sort of that richness that is sort of common, I think, with California Cab. Earthy tones. Yeah, I'll give it that. What does bramble smell like? Black currant, black cherry. Yep. All right, let's give it a try. Okay. Yeah, nice acidity. Tannins stronger than the Barbera. Chalky. I can kind of see where it's getting at that. It's creating such a dryness on my tongue that it's really like kind of it's adding to that dryness, right? A little bit of acidity, a little bit of mouth watering. This is nice, enjoyable. Yeah, definitely something I can see myself drinking. Both of these very drinkable. $12 was it? Yeah. No complaints. Not complicated. Not a lot of time on the palate. Kind of fades quickly. So from that respect, again, not complicated. Is this your first red? If that's where you are in your journey. This might be a little too much. Again, depending on where you are. If you've had a few reds and you enjoy that dryness, then this is a wine for you. If you're still on that, borderline, still prefer sweets, not looking to get into a California Cab, this might not be the one for you. But great price point. Quite enjoyable, and this one was number 4 on the top 100, and I can see why. This is an enjoyable bottle of wine and great price. Syrah. So we've run into Syrah quite a bit on our journey this year, or Shiraz, depending on whether it was an Australian or otherwise, and here it lands at the number 1 spot on Wine Enthusiast's Best Buys of 2023. J. Lohr's 2021 South Ridge Syrah from Paso, Robles, California. J. Lohr is a very popular label, and you're sure to find this in most retailers. Per the description, 93 points. This is a very satisfying Syrah for a rather stunning price. Lush and generous aromas of baked berry, hot spice cake, and a touch of crushed rock show on the nose. We'll be the judges of that. The palate is brooding in cassis, boysenberry pudding, and baking spice flavors framed by impressively deep tannins. There's a lot going on here. And all for $15. Let's give it a try. Ooh, lots of fruit. Lots of fruit off the nose. Again, with these other two, not quite as strong. This one's like, woof, really coming out at me. Huh. I don't know anybody who makes boysenberry pudding, but I'm getting the baked berry. There is like a little bit of like pie crust kind of, that, fresh out of the oven pie with berries in it. I'll give it that. I don't know about hot spice cake. Hot spice cake as opposed to cold spice cake. And a touch of crushed rocks. Brooding. Oh, No, we have to taste it to get to there, to get to brooding. Let's give it a try. That's nice. Colorful. Lots going on fruit-wise, just a little bit more intricate, interesting than some of these other flavors. Not that they were singular note, like one note, but this certainly feels like a little bit more is going on with it. Boysenberry. Yeah, see, I wish cassis. I'm not sure I know what the flavor of cassis is. I guess I need to find that out. But yeah, again, really nice, approachable tannins. It's called deep tannins. Deep.
Wow, it's very deep. Thank you, Vinny.
All right. Not sure what makes them deep. An approachable red, a pleasant drink, a little bit lighter bodied than the cab, and interesting, like I like not bright flavors, elevated. I don't want to say, like there's just something like colorful about the flavoring in this. Sounds weird, but having tasted these and then gotten here, there's a nice distinct difference in this Syrah. These are enjoyable. This kind of takes it up a notch. Is this wine full level 2? Maybe. I don't think so. I don't think it's adventurous enough, to be honest. That's just my opinion. I think this is a very approachable Syrah, and I know I use that term a lot, but I think that's kind of what we're here to talk about. You know, I could present these to wine enjoyers, perhaps enthusiasts, and people would enjoy these wines. They're not overly complicated. They're approachable. They provide an interesting drink. They're not flat. They're not one note. This is a little bit more interesting, I think. I can see, you know, obviously having tasted, you know, sort of just a small handful of the top 11.
If you can see, yeah, the numbers all go to 11.
I can see where this one kind of outranks these, which makes me curious to venture further down the list, to see what does wine number 50, you know, how does that compare to wine number 1 or even wine number 11? You know, what are we getting at number 100? Is that something that's drinkable? You know, how far, you know, what's our range essentially? So again, quite enjoyable, not disappointed by any of these really, especially given the price point. So 3 bottles of wine out of 100 considered this year's best for under $20. Further proof that drinking good wine doesn't need to break the bank. Personally, I walk the line depending on what my goal is. If I'm looking to explore or have a nice bottle with a special meal, I'm okay with spending a little bit more money, so long as I understand what I'm getting into. But if I'm just trying to relax on the weekend and enjoy what I'm drinking, I know I don't have to pay much more than $20 a bottle, and I'm going to get what I want out of it, essentially. What are your thoughts on the subject? You know, let me know where you land in the, you know, wine price category. You know, are you, you know, typically more conservative? Do you try and spend, you know, do you try and go out there and get a nice bottle of wine for certain occasions? Let me know in the comments below. Next week, we'll have a special guest as we dive into this year's wine advent calendar from Costco. Hope to see you there. Till then, stay foolish and cheers to drinking better wine.